everybody. Welcome back to the Show. My name is Aaron, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in pop culture crime, my cousin Landon. How's it going?
Good day. Doing well. Came back from Universal Studios just a little bit ago, actually.
What'd you say it was? Hollywood Nights? Halloween Nights?
Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay.
So
Did
we
they
we just
scare
went
you?
for the fun weekend, but it's pretty amazing. They shut down the Universal side of the parks at like, I don't know, 5:30-ish or something like that. And then at 6:30, they open, they have all these scare zones that you walk through that have different themes, and they have haunted houses. But not just haunted houses. I mean, it's Universal Studios, makeup, design, lighting, everything. And it's pretty epic and scary. It can be quite scary. And so it's become a tradition for my 15-year-old daughter, Sydney, and I to go to. So it was fun.
Uh, isn't the house from Psycho at Universal?
That there is one at the Universal in Hollywood.
Okay.
So
Okay. I don't know if they
yeah.
had one in Florida or not.
No, no, no. But it's pretty impressive what they've done. You would have appreciated during the day they had a new parade that they've done, and they had a Back to the Future honoring float, and it was nice. It was nice to see.
No, I don't do parades. They're always disappointing.
Oh, no, not this one. You just haven't seen the right one.
Okay. Fine. Watching the Macy's parade for the last 44 years. Whatever. I don't know anything. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss out on our latest content. Today, we're talking about the pink phenomenon that took over theaters last summer. Talking about Greta Gerwig's Barbie. Landon, were you one of the millions who contributed to its massive box office success?
I was not, but I did appreciate Delta affording me the opportunity to watch it on my own.
So you caught it in an in-flight
I
entertainment kind of
did.
situation.
I did.
Yeah.
That was because it was one of those that, I mean, first of all, there was a lot of hype about it. And, I figured it'd be a play, but just for me, like, I don't know. I'm playing He-Man when I'm a kid. You know what I mean? So Barbie, I'm like, you know, but then it was on the flight and I heard so many funny, good things about it. I heard Ryan Gosling was funny and, Margot Robbie's, great, talented, beautiful. And I thought, well, why not? And so yeah, I was glad I watched it. You?
So I like how you mentioned that when we were kids, we were playing with He-Man, G.I. Joe. Barbie was too tall to interact with these action figures. She was about twice the height of He-Man, if I'm remembering correctly. So
It would have made him not feel very powerful and strong.
right, right, yeah, it was they were just weren't compatible. And
No.
so you can't have these worlds colliding. Like maybe on the big screen today they could.
Yeah.
But I actually I did not watch the movie in the theater. This is one that I actually didn't watch until this weekend to prepare for this very podcast. And I found it surprisingly entertaining.
Right?
Um, I
It's
thought the
very
message
surprising.
was refreshing, although I'm sure some folks out there might misinterpret it. What do you think the main takeaway is supposed to be for audiences?
I mean, I think there's there's quite a few things, but I definitely think not being boxed into an identity,
Mm,
rather finding your identity, on your own, right? So don't let a culture or people or anyone define you specifically. If you don't like the box you're in, you shouldn't be in the box anyway. You should be making your own, I guess you will.
yeah.
You?
That's so that is an interesting point. To me, like it seemed like the true message was, there's a lot of work to be done in a world where both genders strive for equality, right? It's not just about women's empowerment, but about how we navigate these complex issues together. What did you think about how the movie handled those themes?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the message towards the end when the one girl that comes from the real world is giving her speech about about how society is trying to make women be,
Mhm.
and that was a really good thing for, I think, probably for anybody to hear, but it was good for me to hear too. Just just being a guy and just seeing just the different pressures, about about what people define as what's the right way. It can be very, very difficult, especially in our very subjective society, especially when there's subjective truth everywhere you go, left and right. There's no defining of elements of what's true or what isn't. And so people having identity crisis and even gender role issues, that can be difficult. And so I thought it was good because it raises the conversation. It makes people think, more than anything. It's provocative to thought. Now, whether you land in any certain place on that, can depend. I think there's a lot of people that have varying views on the matter, but you don't get anywhere without at least thinking on a topic, and I think it accomplished that.
Um, well, as two guys discussing this movie, it almost feels like we have to walk on eggshells to, when we're approaching the topic of feminist themes in a movie, especially one as huge as Barbie turned out to
Right.
be.
Right.
Um, why don't we bring in a female perspective?
I think that would be a great idea. I think we should bring in a female perspective because as two guys being on here, I know this person would say, "How dare you?" To me. So we're going to bring on our first special guest, at least on my podcast. You've had special guests, but this is my first
When
time
you
having
disappear,
someone.
I bring in people all the
Mhm.
time.
Right, right. But this is my first time. So come on down, Sydney. This is my daughter, my 15-year-old daughter, Sydney. And she's going to sit down with us here. We're both rocking some Stranger Things here. So I got Vecna and she's got the shirt.
Hello, Sydney.
Hello, Sydney. So Sydney here has watched Barbie multiple times now. So
So you're a fan.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I guess this probably goes without saying, but did you like the movie?
Yes, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. And what kind of would you say is like you like about it? Just like that grabbed you from the first time that you saw it.
I think I enjoyed the comedy and how um the fighting between all the Kens was just like very playful and just like very stupid.
What'd you think of Ken? What did you think of Ryan Gosling's Ken?
I thought it was hilarious, but I also like how his character in the end was just trying to learned that he doesn't need Barbie to like be who he is, that he can just be himself and that's enough.
Yeah, yeah. So you felt like he had his own set of pressure on his side, feeling that he needed to be something, even pressure he was doing to himself.
Mhm. Yes.
Do you have any funny moments that like just are callbacks that you think are like hilarious moments that just make you laugh when you think about them?
Yes. During the I'm Just Ken song when they're doing their battle against each other, but then also their their dance routine. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty good dance routine. That's
Mhm.
coming from you, who's a dancer. I mean, you have a lifetime of experience of dancing, so if you felt it was pretty good dancing, that's something else.
Yep.
So, um, what else, Aaron? You got any questions for Sydney?
Mm, well, I'm glad you brought up I'm Just Ken because I found that to be unexpectedly hilarious.
Mhm.
And I mean, I wasn't expecting the movie to be as musical as it was. Like
Right. Me
there were
too.
a lot more. Like I knew that there was a that Gosling had a his own like musical number in there with the Ken song, but like I had no idea that like from the beginning of it, there's music all through it.
Yeah.
Um, did y'all have any kind of favorite musical moments other than I'm Just Ken?
For me, that was the one that was funny that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say. But I mean, there was a lot of funny moments throughout the movie that were really good. But I remember this part where Ken is like Barbie says that she's wants to get back with him or whatever the case is. He's being so
Yes.
cool. And then he goes
Yeah.
he goes behind the room and he's like, you know, or so what does he say? He says something.
Sublime.
Oh, sublime. That's right.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. And
Did
what the
like the
guy?
beginning of it.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, who's the guy that plays the Ken that's from our Legend of the Ten Rings?
Simu Liu.
Oh, you
Yeah.
know him. God, that's great. He did great. What a different role compared to that other one.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
not very action heavy,
No.
but still fun. I did love the beginning. Did y'all catch the homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey?
No, no, but it's been a while since I've seen it, so
So
remind me.
that whole beginning sequence where it's got Helen Mirren's the narrator, and she's talking about how little girls would just play with baby dolls,
Yeah,
and then Barbie shows up, like larger than life,
yeah.
and
Oh, right.
then that
Like
one
the
little toddler
monolith.
just starts like smashing the other dolls with the one doll, and then throws it up in the air, and it's shot for shot. It's the same as the primordial man
Oh, yeah, yeah.
discovering how to use bones as tools, and like then throwing a bone up in the air, and then the shot changes to the space station in 2001. And so that's what happens with this. Like she
Yeah.
throws a doll up in the air, and the shot changes to Barbie.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's true. The only part that I think that I thought was just a little too typical was Will Ferrell. Like
Yes.
Will Ferrell is great and I like him and all, but I could have done without him in this movie. I would have
It's like a
preferred for him to
go-to just like if you need a corporate guy in a funny movie that's just kind of just gonna be there as
right,
like a
right.
cameo, that's who you go to.
It's kind of
Yeah.
overdone, you know, at this
Yeah,
point, I
yeah.
think. Um,
I-
yeah,
bring in Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder, that kind of character. I want to see him running things.
there you go.
Might have been a little inappropriate for Barbie, but still. All right, I want to talk about the cultural impact. And Sydney, feel free to chime in on this. So we know this movie was everywhere. You got memes, you got merchandise. I mean, obviously, you got merchandise. If you're not selling toys from a Barbie movie, then what are you doing? You got people dressing up to go to the theater to see this thing. Why do you think it resonated so strongly with audiences?
Um, I think because it's like iconic and it's like just something all girls really love. And it's kind of like, even though it's not the same thing, kind of like how for the Mean Girls movie that came out, everyone was wearing pink. And so because it was like iconic, it was just like something everyone was doing. So I think it's just something like that where it's iconic, so everyone wants to do
Yeah,
something kind of all together.
yeah. Very nostalgic. You know, you
Mhm.
think about fans flocking to comic book movies, you know, initially, right? You know, I mean, obviously we're into this whole thing that we're in now, but still, like people get nostalgic. You know, I would imagine girls look at it and they're thinking about all of the different Kens that they had, all the different Barbie types that they had, you know, and all the different dream things that they had. And it's like, oh, I had that. You know what I mean? So I think there's that part. I think the cultural part's a bonus, you know, and it was funny, you know, and all that. It would have been not as well received, in my opinion, if it had been like if it hadn't made fun of itself. Like,
Right.
if it had just been, like, a cute movie like Alvin and the Chipmunks or something like that, it of course, would have sold a lot with kids, I'm sure, and would have been had, like, 15 sequels on, direct to video, but I just think, it had to make fun of itself and be this done up in order for it to really have grabbed such wide appeal.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I'm one of those like I feel like as old as Barbie is, like this is a property that's been around for generations and is one of Mattel's most popular toy lines. You know, it's almost surprising that Barbie hasn't gotten an actual movie before this. I mean, yeah, you've gotten like
Right?
tons of animated stuff where Barbie is a fairy princess or Barbie is a ballerina or whatever.
Right.
And these are all your direct to DVD animated movies that little kids are going to watch,
Right.
but there hasn't been this live action push for Barbie, like there has been with so many like Transformers or He-Man or what
Right.
all of these toys that the boys grew up with
Right.
are getting
Right.
these huge big budget action movies. What are you
Right.
going to do with Barbie? How are you
Right.
going to turn that into a movie? I never would have seen or even dreamed of the idea that Barbie lives in Barbie Land and can visit the real world. And
Right.
like
Right.
it's nothing. Like it's just
Right.
a day trip
Right.
to
Right.
go to the real world. And so I thought that was a very interesting take on how to turn this into a live action movie. I thought it was really well done, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. There really wasn't much that I didn't like about the movie. I mean, I thought it was good. Now here's the real question, and I was asking Sydney this earlier, so I'd be interested in knowing what you think. But should this be a standalone or should it have a sequel? Or what are your thoughts on that?
You asking me or Sydney first?
Sydney. Yeah,
Oh,
Sydney.
okay.
Sorry.
You should probably look at her when you ask her a question. There you
um,
go.
I don't know, cause I was trying to think earlier about like what kind of plots they could have, and I think it could go either way. Um, but like they should have things on their own, like that are Barbie related. But it's like if they should have a sequel to the Barbie movie, I would probably disagree with that.
Yeah. I wonder because it's like you have her now, like she's entering the real world her own way. It would almost be like you're going against what you accomplished, by there being a sequel.
Mhm.
Um, but then again, maybe it's like, Disenchanted, the Enchanted movie sequel, where it's like, oh, now we've got, the main character living in the world and needs to remember some of the things that are magical. You know what I mean? So who knows? I mean, I guess so. What do you think, Aaron?
Uh, I'm with Sydney on this one. I would not want to see a sequel to this. Not, and if I feel like if they do it, which of course they're going to, because it made a truckload of money.
Yeah.
And so Warner Brothers would be stupid not to, and that's just business. That's just how the movie business works. It's easier to take a movie that made millions of dollars and spin out a sequel, whether it's good or bad,
Right.
than to try to come up with a new creative intellectual property. And so it would be shocking if we don't see a Barbie 2 somewhere in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm not saying we're gonna get one tomorrow. I think
Right.
they're gonna try to, of course, try to get Greta Gerwig back, but I don't think she would do it. She strikes me as too artistic to come in
Right.
and do a sequel
She
just for
had
the
a
cash
statement
grab.
to make, right? She had a statement to make. She
Right.
made it, right? She'll make another statement in some other way.
Right.
Right.
So that being the case, I feel like whatever they do is likely to be a disappointment. Um, but I feel like it's inevitable. I would not. I don't really want to see a sequel though. Like I said, I feel like this
Yeah.
is a good standalone movie. But what do I know? I'm the guy who said they never should have made a sequel to A Quiet Place. I thought it was a perfect standalone movie. But no, let's build out that universe and have sequels and prequels and why not?
Which, sometimes it works out. And sometimes you got to get through a not so great sequel to get to a great prequel, as is
Mhm.
the case with Quiet Place.
I still haven't seen Day One. I need to look that
Oh,
one up.
you need to see that.
So
Is it
good.
good?
Great.
So good. It's got our Eddie from Stranger Things in it. Great
That's
job.
right. Oh,
Yeah,
I
his
love that kid.
performance alone. And the girl,
From
Nip,
Black Panther.
yeah, what's her name?
Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, she's so great.
She's so
Uh,
great.
since we are kind of switching gears here, Sydney, you want to stick around for our next section of the show? Our pop culture pulse.
Yeah, why not?
Here you
Just stay
go.
till let's keep it around to the end, huh?
Stay on. Stay on. You
Like
haven't
the
done anything crazy inappropriate yet, so you're okay.
yet. It's like the Tonight Show, If your guest can stick around, stick around. It's more fun that
You
way.
could
All right.
you could do a Tom Cruise on the Oprah couch and just jump around all over the place.
No, let's not go back to that. That's just crazy talk. You want to talk Tom Cruise? Let's have him jumping out of the Burj Khalifa, okay? All right. So it's time for our pop culture pulse. I don't have anything Barbie related in as far as pop culture news, but I do want to mention that Only Murders in the Building is back on Hulu for a fourth season. Do you guys watch that show at all?
I started watching a couple of episodes. I got 3 episodes in, and then I lost my momentum. I don't wanna say I lost interest because 'cause I'm still interested. It's just I lost my momentum. And so I was like, "All right, I'm gonna have to come back to this later."
I somehow completely missed the third season. So
Oh,
I have to go back and watch that, which Paul Rudd was a big part of, the third
that makes it
season.
all worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need to go back and watch the third season so that I can now catch on to the fourth season, which I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the last season or if I'm just hearing that Selena Gomez is going to try to step away after the fourth season. I don't know.
Hmm. She's got
Any
other
pop
things to
culture
do.
news on y'all's radar?
I can tell you that Rings of Power has come out. It's now in its second season, so we get to learn a little bit more about Sauron. And I have not started it, though I am excited to binge it. So
Is it one that they released the whole thing at once,
I don't
or are they
know.
going week to week?
I get things confused
Because
with that because
it's on
people.
Prime, right?
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
typically do week to week. So
yeah. So I would imagine it's probably got a couple of episodes at least, maybe,
okay,
because I think it came out a week and a half ago. Maybe it's the second episode came out now. So.
gotcha. Sydney, anything pop culture related you want
Music,
Um,
movies.
the
to?
new
You
Beetlejuice movie is coming out soon.
That's
I'm
right.
excited for that.
It
said
does.
which movie?
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Oh yes,
You're so excited.
that looks
Yeah.
excellent. That's coming out next Friday.
Oh my goodness.
Um, yeah,
Excellent.
as of recording this, it'll be out at the end of this week.
Mm,
Mhm.
Exciting
mm.
stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I have my expectations are really light. Like it's just I'm just going there to enjoy Michael Keaton, be Michael Keaton.
Mhm.
And what's the girl's name?
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega. She'll be very Jenna Ortega-ish, you know? I mean, she really is just Jenna Ortega. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Kristen Stewart, but with personality, a little bit more personality, not a whole lot, just a little bit more,
Slightly, yeah.
slightly.
Like I feel like she's gotten pigeonholed now into Wednesday Adams.
She
So
has, yeah,
like
Yeah.
and coming in on a Wednesday is a Tim Burton produced and I think he directed some of the episodes too.
yeah,
That series, and so they've got that connection. But she comes in and does Beetlejuice again with Tim Burton. It's
yeah.
like, are you playing a different character or are you just Wednesday Adams?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I would have thought that she was the product of Helen Bonham Carter and Tim Burton. Honestly, like if they just sat me down and said, "Who is the parent? Who are the parents of this child?" I would have said those two people. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
just saying.
All right, moving on to our recommendation corner. Landon, got anything good for our listeners this week?
Um, we as a family finished The Office,
Mhm.
and I would just say that, there I'm always surprised when I'm traveling and I meet people that are just like, "I've never seen that." I'm just like, "What? How 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 have you survived?" You know? And so it's always fun to refresh and uh watch over again, I think. So,
Absolutely.
what about you? You
Now,
recommend anything?
well,
Yes, actually. Uh, one show that I'm kind of watching right now, Once Upon a Time, really good show. Up till the last season, but
Yeah.
because the last season is not the best.
No, it's
But
not.
I would recommend that show because it's really good and it has a lot of fairy tales and like just characters from books in general. So yeah.
Yeah, 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 that's true.
Hmm.
yeah. Once Upon a Time lost me when what's the main character name? Emma.
Yeah.
Emma,
When she became the Dark One, they
the
lost me
Black
there.
Swan,
Hmm?
The Black Swan.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I stopped watching it after that. They
Mm.
almost lost me when Frozen came in.
Yeah. That. Yep.
Um, as for me, I've got a sweet treat to recommend.
Oh,
Chick-fil-A has brought back their banana pudding milkshake for the first time in 13 years. And let me tell you, it's worth every penny. My only complaint is that the cup isn't big enough. They need to come up with a bigger cup.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it's amazing. So if y'all go to Chick-fil-A anytime soon, especially on a hot day, banana pudding milkshake.
I've got
If you
one
like
more.
bananas.
I got one more for you. We
Yeah.
went and did an escape room yesterday
Um,
in Orlando. And this escape room that we went to is called Prison Break. And we were in there, the four of us and our family, with another family that was, well, like we don't know each other, but we're paired up, right? And we both start off in separate prison cells, and we have to work together to get ourselves out and get ourselves into another room. It was so fun. It was their most difficult one, and not necessarily because all the puzzles were any more difficult than any other puzzles, but because of the challenge of people communicating, like different people who don't know each other communicating.
mhm.
And it worked out well, and we won it with 10 minutes to spare. It's so fun.
Yeah.
If you haven't done an escape room, it's so fun, but it's
Mhm.
especially fun when you go with people that really can work together.
I've never done an escape room before.
But you have one
What?
within your vicinity. You would be great at
There's
it.
several. I think I do really well with it. But no one, like, I don't have friends. So, I can't just go to an
We
escape room
will
and be like, I'm gonna go do this by myself, okay? Like a
no,
big loser.
we will do this with
Yeah.
you.
We
This
just
is a
go visit.
commitment.
Yeah.
This is a commitment.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mm.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Oh.
All right, folks, that about wraps it up for today's episode. Next time, we'll be boldly going where no podcast has gone before as we look at the beginnings of Star Trek The Next Generation. Landon, Sydney, any final thoughts on Barbie before we sign off?
The Dance the Night song, with the whole dancing was amazing.
There you
That's
go.
also one of the better songs.
That's good. That's good. I will say that some people treated this Barbie with Oppenheimer that happened at the same time
Mhm.
as like there's a Barbieheimer,
Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer, right? And I have not seen Oppenheimer, and so I feel like I've only seen half of it because it's almost like the whole thing came out, and it's like I need to go see the other half of Barbie, which is Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
You
Oh
know,
I'm
god.
same. I still haven't seen Oppenheimer either.
but
It's on
it's
Peacock, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
just haven't taken time to sit down and watch it.
yeah.
And another song, I will say the Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
What what am I? What no wait, what's it called?
What was I made for?
What was I made for? Thank you, Sydney, coming in the clutch. Uh, Hauntingly beautiful, great
Mhm.
song.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, Sydney, for joining us, being our special guest on this episode. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening where you get podcasts. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. And as always, have a great whatever it is, wherever you are.
Bye.
Bye.